Hello everyone, I've come to do your weekend read, but this weekend we have, and the day I'm reading, we have Mercury cazimi the Sun and it's conjunct Pluto. Okay, so it's a very underworld week this week, so I thought we'd have a look really at the collective in terms of what's going on out there, the shadow, and what's happening for us. Okay, so I'm going to use two decks here, gives you a little bit more insight. Okay, okie dokie, so we are going to have a look at the collective weather. Let's pull this down. We're going to have a look at the ideal that we have. We're going to look at the central hub, the central node, what's powering everything at the moment. And then we're going to have a look at the algorithm in the sense of what spreads or rewards us. Then we're going to look at, got the ideal there, we'll have the shadow ideal, and then we'll have the gate access control, and then we're going to have a new protocol here. So it should be interesting. I'm very interested to see what is going on in our collective. Really I am. So our collective weather, right, so first of all we've got the Hermit here. I've got a light shining straight in there. I'm just going to move this light so it's not shining right in the cards so you can't see them. So we got the Hermit, okay, and we've also got the we've got the Page of Swords. So what we're looking at here with this Hermit and Page of Swords, of the archetype of the moment, that is that withdrawing. So it could be the withdrawal of major power, or it could be the withdrawal of the collective. It's kind of moving into a more reflective space, and I think that's more likely to be it, because that is what we can see. We can see the collective withdrawing, thinking, contemplating, planning action ahead. We are not a happy collective in that sense. There is so much going on in the world. And Pluto is a good time with all these planets going through to really look at what's going on there. And that collective weather of you know, an era of withdrawal is helpful because it's reflective. It makes us kind of contemplate where we're at as individuals within that collective. So there may be a level of fear there with the Hermit. That can be, you know, shadow of the Hermit is a withdrawal from society because things are too awful. But we're a collective, there's many of us, billions of us. So it could be that withdrawal to reflect. I think a lot of people are seeing and knowing that there's a shift coming, and they are withdrawing. And then we got the Son of Swords, and I'm reading the swords as, you know, like the narrative. What narrative is happening here? What is the major narrative? And it is swords, so it is mind. It's that ideology. It's almost like ideologies are changing. There's massive change within overarching ideologies here. This is very much a learner energy, the Page of Swords, but we do have the Owl here, so we've got that wisdom. So that is the collective looking at new ways to think, new narratives, new ideas, but it can also denote information wars here, in the sense of people trying to get you know, get a grip of that narrative. So that's very explanatory with what is going on here. So let's have a look at our ideal. Yeah, see, we've got another major arcana. They're major arcs, okay? So we've got the Magician and we've got the Fool. So they're the first two cards of the tarot. Okay, so this is the stated values. So with the collective, given the other cards, I would say that we are collectively thinking about how we can restart, redo. It's zero, it's the sum of all potential. So there's that sense of potential of stepping out, taking a leap into a new era, using our magic, using our abilities, everything that we got within us, our minds, our vision, our emotions, our bodies, you know, the whole caboodle, our money, our material abundance that we have collectively. So a real sense of this is how we can move forward here. And that, you know, it's about bringing magic. Now we have to look that magic is an ideal, okay? We have this ideal that we can create collectively together, that we can bring magic into being here. We can bring a sense of a new sense of magic, reclaim our magic, reclaim our power, reclaim our sovereignty. And I think that is what a lot of people within the collective are really wanting to do. Okay, so we'll have a look at our shadow narrative. Oh yeah, look. The shadow narrative is that Three of Swords and the Hierophant. So again, you know, systems, it's narratives, those narratives that we are telling ourselves, okay? It's about the policies that are in place. It's about the ideology, information wars. So there is a lot of pain in the collective, a lot of brokenness because of what we have in place right now, because of how our policies, our systems are working. There is a lot of pain, huge amount of pain, and that's not just in our own countries, that is globally. We're seeing an awful lot of pain as a result of the global leadership that we have at the moment. But we also have the Hierophant. I mean, as you can see, it's just chocker of major arcana. Yeah, major arcana. And the swords, you know, Pluto's in Aquarius, all this underworld work, all this bringing up from the depth and power dynamics. It's very Aquarian, which is air energy, which is the swords. But again, this is a big change, a big shift. So the Hierophant is, and you see the the key. See the key there? There is a key within the shadows that we're facing. So really important as individuals to go down to look at the things within us, because in that darkness there is the treasure. We have the treasure of our abilities. The Magician, I often see, is the empath who has met their magician. So they're not in that rescue mode, they're in that transmuting mode. Okay, the Magician can transmute, he can use his sword to cut through. So we need to use our minds to cut through the ideologies, the narratives that are going on now. This is a shadow ideal. Okay, so maybe there is a sense on a spiritual level that we're being tested at the moment, that we're having that sense of breakdown. But with this Hierophant, you know, this is learning, it's teaching, it's the Pope. You know, in the Rider-Waite, it's the Pope card. But they're the keys to the kingdom, and it's that sense of the kingdom is inside us. And it's inside our collective shadow. This is shadow ideals. So we are being called as a collective to do our personal work, to change our inner narratives so that we have that cleanness of mind to be able to confront the ideologies and the narratives that we are seeing on a global level, and particularly on a spiritual level. There's a lot of darkness around. There is no denying the darkness at the moment. There is no denying the split, the shift, the movement that's happening. We are in profoundly transitional times. So yeah, shadow ideals. And you know, on a spiritual level, there could be energies which are attempting to keep us broken, attempting to break us down and make us feel that we can't move out from where we are. Let's have a look at the central hub. So the central hub is what's steering the outcomes, so the leaders, the institutions, the platforms. So we have the equivalent of the Mother of Cups is the Queen of Cups, okay, and we've got the Page of Wands here. So the wands are the movements, the momentum. It's about virility and activism, okay, here. And we are learning, if we look at the Magician with his wand here, we are learning to take hold of that wand, to understand that we stand between the above and the below, as above so below. What is occurring now, although it is headed up by particular leaders, it's also fate, it's also part of our evolution. And the Mother of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles, is about resources, okay. So that hub that we've got, the central node, we have, I've got to look, because it is nurture, the Queen of Pentacles, it's about nurturing the resources. You know, the King of Pentacles is building it, the Queen of Pentacles is nurturing it. And there is a huge sense of our resources, the natural world, not being nurtured. You know, we've got the Aquarius energy here, and the use of natural resources to power, you know, high tech. And we've got to be thankful for tech, but perhaps this is a call. What is driving is a need on a spiritual level. People are waking up to looking after the resources. But the other side that I see of that Mother of Pentacles is the fact that there is such an inequality in resources again. And if we're looking at the hub as the leadership, you know, the kind of central node, the hub of what's going on, like in the world and spiritually, there is really a sense that we're needing to, you know, become active in our words and in our movement, but particularly in our vision. That's fire, that's south energy. There's a wildness about that, but it's also a matter of time. It's a matter of aligning to a solid vision, really, a solid vision out there in the world. Yeah. Page of Wands as well, you know, in this spread, the way I want to look at it is, you know, there's organizer. The Page of Wands is a role. There is a role that needs to be taken up of nurture in terms of the resources. So there are a lot of grassroots activism, grassroots movements, organisations which are bringing that care for the resources and for those who are totally bereft of resources. Definitely a huge shift going on there once again, but yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at so we have a look at what's being amplified, that algorithm. Okay. Again, we've got a fire card here. We got the Four of Pentacles and we have got the Three of Wands. So we're looking at a sense of either stability or grasping, you know, hanging on. In the Rider-Waite, it's that king grasping the pentacles, you know, hanging on to him, sitting over his city with all the resources. We just spoke about nurturing the resources, and that Three of Wands is that waiting for your ships to come in. It is, again, it's that fire. It's a sense of we're in a position now where we can't wait in one sense. We need to get organised, we need to get active in terms of what we're doing. And however, that doesn't mean like activism. It may mean gearing up, having your vision, it may mean leading a movement, it may be spiritual leadership, but there's a real sense of needing that vision, that sense of looking out to sea, looking at the horizon, looking at the movement on the sea and what ships are coming in for us here. Yeah, it's having that vitality and that vision and acting on it, not sitting on your laurels. We all have something in us to give. And that is a sense of giving it. So whatever resources you've got, you know, if you've got an abundance and an overflow, it's about using those resources for the greater good in that sense. And our vision and our passion and our action that can be outward toward the collective. As I say, this huge shift. Astrologically, there's a massive shift, and spiritually, I think loads of us can feel this. And this Pluto transit is the clearing up, the bringing to the surface of the shadow content of the underworld content almost. Yeah, it's fascinating. So we'll have a look at the gate. So what's controlling access? Oh my goodness, yeah. Okay, so what's controlling access? We got the Tower and we got the Ten of Cups. It couldn't be more polarized, okay? So I'm looking at that Ten of Cups and the Tower as almost like the breaking down, the restart, when the tower falls, it's like a bulldozer cleaning up. You know, we can't have that new, that fulfillment until the old comes down in that sense. Again, another major arcana. There's no doubt. I mean, the cards are showing in one read with 16 cards. We've got a lot of major arcana, and a lot of the readings lately are full of major arcana. It is major shifts in the narrative, okay? So there's an emotive, and I think if we look at the narratives, when people are wanting to go and steal oil from other people, there's almost like an emotive narrative that they need to, that collapsing people in a sense of emotional, okay? And that Tower is Mars, and Mars is the sword, Mars is the fire, Mars is the war and conflict energy, okay? So this really is a sense of power. Might makes right. We're seeing it all over. People's joy, happiness. This Ten of Cups is the family, and there is a system that has no regard. There's a system of power that just wants to continue. I mean, it's a really stark vision, that Tower. They want to completely control the resources, the power, particularly the power dynamics. Pluto is all about power. But also we can look at this as a restoration of our joy as things are shifting and changing. Those who are grasping onto power and misusing and abusing power may have their towers fall. We have the Sun connecting when this read comes out tomorrow. There's the Sun connecting with Pluto. It's resetting the synodic cycle. And Sun and Pluto is often the demise of a solar figure, okay? So I'm not making any predictions, but that's with this Tower as well, and Mars is coming into Pluto, there's this sense that the control of access, you know, whether it's money, whether it's bureaucracy, whether it's the ability to be visible or to be your own people out of your own choice, this is going to start changing radically very soon. I think these Pluto transits are, there's a real sense of fatedness with these Pluto transits, okay? We have an eclipse coming in Aquarius where Pluto is. There's something huge happening on a material level, on an emotional level, but also on a spiritual level. So there's a fatedness. The eclipses are fated. Something is stirring in the waters there. So there's a feel for me intuitively that what has been taken, there's going to be some sort of restoration coming here. Okay, and the last one is the new protocol. Oh my goodness, yeah. You can't get much. The new protocol is the Ten of Swords, which is, you know, the end of, and as I said, the swords here are narratives, policies, ideology, information wars. There's an ending. There's an ending. And why? Because there's judgment there. Okay, so that sense of, you know, in the Rider-Waite where he's got the swords all stuck in his back. Okay, it's a deep betrayal. It always reminds me, the Ten of Swords, of when the Romans killed Caesar, Julius Caesar. They all stabbed him. It really reminds me of that. So there's that sense of an ending, something new. The new protocol is the end of those narratives, those policies, those ideologies, all that information, the propaganda, the kind of, you know, there's an ending coming, there's a judgment coming. It's fated. And as I say, we've got Pluto and all the planets going through with Pluto at the moment. That is quite amazing. We've had huge astrological weather, all the grand water trines, you know. We've got all the outer planets moving, I think by April, into their new signs. It's air and fire with the major planets, okay? And then judgment, yeah, and fire is refining people, so there's a sense of refinement. I'm going to pull one oracle card, which is specifically a shadow deck, okay? So we can have a look at perhaps the shadows that we're not seeing, or the collective shadow that's rising, that is up for refining, cleaning, healing, seeing. That's what Pluto does. He brings everything from the deep subconscious. Okay, so we've got 62. I'm going to have to read my book because obviously I don't remember all the sigils, but this could be what Pluto, the Plutonian shadow, is rising up for us. Just need my glasses. Number 62. Let's have a look. Denying death. Okay, I think that came out in a reading a while ago. There's a sense with this denial of death, and you know, as a new protocol, we have that Ten of Swords. That's an ending. That's an ending to a whole old era air energetic, old era power and empire and narrative, policy, ideology, all those things. Okay, propaganda. So let's have a look at it. I'll hold it up for you so that you can see it. It might spark. It's a sigil. So I notice we have our Saturn up here. Yeah. Okay, let me read it. If this sigil is drawn, the death of something is actually needed in order to get where you want to go. We're talking collectively, okay? It's a death of an old order, I think. I really do think it, yeah, a massive shift. So there's something we need to let go of, and we need to do that as a collective, but we can only do it as a collective by doing it individually and looking within, okay? Something needs to end, and there's a sense of currently being unable or refusing to see the value of this ending and the need for it. Some people will go with the status quo, even though it is painful, because it is familiar and it is comfortable. That's the long and the short of it, okay? So we need to, I'm speaking to myself here as well, we need to let go of the things that have given us comfort in the past and open ourselves to new vision. Because when fated happenings come, like fated eclipses, there's going to be change, and we only have the death of something for the renewal. In my astrology video, I talk about Inanna's descent to the underworld, okay? And she was stripped of everything because she was bringing a renewal of fertility and of the cycles, okay? So it's that sense, you know, we exchange comfort for tyranny sometimes, or comfort for what's the word, because something's easy and convenient. Yeah, so we need to address these things. Sigil is telling you that the time has come for change, transitions, endings, transformation, so as to leave the old behind. It's telling us that currently we are in serious resistance to this. As people, we're terrified of death and endings, both our own deaths and that of others. What is even more terrifying is that death happens to everyone. It's an inescapable nature of life. Death comes no matter who you are, how much money or status you do or don't have, where you live, the colour of your skin, or your religion. This sigil is telling you that an ending is something that you need to allow. Just like death, change and the endings that come with change are also an inevitable part of life. Change is inevitable. It's the cyclical nature of life. It's a bit of a dark one to end on, people, but I think this is not individual, this is collective, and I've talked all the way through about an end of an era, an end of a system, the transformation, that tower, you know, the restoration of better things, restoration of things that are fertile, abundant, that are just, that are where resources are weighed more fairly, where people are not struggling because of the greed of a few. Yeah, I'm going to stop there, or I'll go on one. But I hope that was helpful. Little bit dark, little bit heavy, but it's Pluto and he's Lord of the underworld. So I hope that's helpful. I have put up an old meditation that, for those of you who were here on my old channel and you're still here, you're wonderful. That old meditation that I done for you about 4 or 5 years ago, inner alchemy meditation. It's a visualization. It's extremely peaceful. It's a way to transmute. I've remodeled it and put it back on, so that's up there on the channel now. If you need to transmute your energy, you need to work with some of those energy, do some inner alchemy with what is surfacing, and for all of us there will be stuff surfacing. So yeah, use that. It may be helpful. Beautiful visuals on it, even if I say so myself. But there's some beautiful visuals that are very grounding, and yeah, so use that. Do your inner alchemy. Don't be afraid of what's going on or what is to come. There's divine meaning, divine movement, divine shifts. We're all being moved to higher consciousness collectively. That's what's happening. So in order for that higher consciousness to become operational, we need to let go, allow things to pass, even if there's discomfort and disease with it, because yeah, beautiful things are coming, and to have that higher consciousness is you know, that's an incredible gift to us. And if you go look at the astrology video about the descent of Inanna, that's exactly what she was doing. She was being stripped. She's a goddess, there was a death, but then there was a renewal of the cycle. Yeah, fertility and abundance and prosperity. Okay, lots of love to you all. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.